Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So we're going to take a look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a few other cryptos this morning. We're also going to take a look at some stocks. Nothing's really on the docket today as far as high event risk news items, but tomorrow we will be seeing the meeting from Powell. It will be from Jackson Hole. I think pretty much everybody's eyes are going to be on that press conference because they want to know, is he dovish or is he hawkish, as that could have a lot to do, or that could direct the future price here. As I pull up Polymarket, you can see right here the bettors are 65% saying that we'll see a 25 basis point rate cut, whereas 33% think there will be no change. If we look at the Fed Watch tool as well, we can see that this has been going down, though. It was in the 90%. Now you're down to 79. So this is slowly going lower. So there might not be a rate cut. Only they know. We have one more non-farm payrolls to go through before we get the rate cut. And I'm not sure if we'll get another CPI. I think we will. I think we get one more CPI and one more NFP before we get the rate decision. So we still have some data to look through before we get that. Right now, Bitcoin is currently just trading on the lows of day. Yesterday, it had a little bit of a spike. Yesterday, we did the members only, or the Discord only premium service. And we were basically just looking for longs yesterday on Ethereum because we kind of assumed that the markets would be choppy and sideways this week until we get into Friday. Now, there is news coming up today at 10, but it's existing home sales. It can move the market. I'm not expecting it to move the market, but we'll see. We're a little bit early. We got 15 minutes until the bell. Bitcoin looks weak. I mean, if you look at it on a 4-hour time frame, it's definitely got more of a bearish structure to it. You did lose the midpoint of August's range. That's not typically what we want to see. We want to see price continue to be able to hold at least the midpoint of the monthly bullish range. When you lose that, it's a little bit more weak. So yeah, we lost that. We even lost July's midpoint. So this isn't great. Like we don't want to see it give back all of July's range. But that's what it looks like it's trying to do. So here we go. Let's move this VWAP over here to today. Your weekly VWAP is right here, this green line. As you can see, that's where price rejected yesterday at the open. You got a fresh daily candle right here. It traded up, liquidating the previous day high, and that's where it failed. Rolled over, and it's been down pretty much all day long. You look at the 5-minute chart, you can see the trend has just been clean as it can be to the downside. You just took out the previous 4-hour candle's low and rejected. It's very sideways, very choppy. Let's go look at Ethereum. Same scenario. This was the previous day's high. Then we took that out with this, and then we opened a new daily range. Wait a minute. No, it did not. I thought it did. Oh, so this high was a little bit earlier than 8. That's weird. Anyways. Yeah, it came in a little bit, an hour earlier. Did time get changed on me and I don't know about it? No, I'm kidding. That doesn't happen until the fall. But anyways, yeah, it's been pretty much sideways. Now, it is down 1.78%. But yesterday, Ethereum was up over 6%. So we basically entered it, the long trade on it yesterday. I closed that position here, but yesterday we were basically just watching this swing low right there. And when it traded back up into it, that's when we entered the long position. Right in here, we broke down. We wanted to see if it was going to continue making fresh daily low or not, as down here was your daily low, but then it got back above it. So we bought it right in here, and it ended up being a nice trade. Today, the structure is bearish. If you're going to go by what happened yesterday, then you're probably a little bit more bullish today. You are trading at last week's low. So if you go look at the weekly chart, this is what you have. This week is bearish. You hardly even moved up at all this week. So the whole week has been pretty bearish. This is your last week open. This is also going to be looked at as a potential weekly supply candle. I'm sure a lot of sellers are hitting it right here. We go look at the 30-minute 100 exponential. You can see price is currently under it, but it is testing that as potential resistance. So if you're looking for longs, this would be the level that you would be wanting to see upside continuation from. That would be where you would be mitigating your risk. We go pull up this weekly's midpoint. Let's see where we are in relation to that. So right here is the midpoint for the weekly range. Clearly, in order to be bullish, you need to stay above that. Like I said, tomorrow's the news. So today could be extremely choppy. We could see big moves to the downside. We could also see big moves to the upside. So if you are going to be trading in these conditions, then you need to be prepared for that. You need to be able to expect that happening. So make sure you have your objective price points situated where you are looking for longs and shorts. Fartcoin is one asset that we usually trade. As you can see here, it has been extremely choppy. This is why I'm more focused on Ethereum. Ethereum is trending better than Fartcoin is, both to the upside and to the downside. Whereas Fartcoin is just sideways here. And it is also down 3.6%. So if we know Fartcoin can move anywhere between 5 and 10% on the day, well, it's only got another 1.5% to move to the downside before it achieves that 5% target. So there's just not much reward left for the daily range if you're looking for shorts. If you look at this chart, shorts is literally the only thing you should be looking for. This chart is extremely weak. We go to the 8-hour. Your moving averages are all structured very bearish, and they are spread out. So not only are you down, you are trending down. You're under the weekly 21 exponential. You're under the yearly opening range. You're under August's open. You are bearish on the year, on the month, on the week, on the day, and intraday. Like, this thing is as bearish as it can be. Could it bounce? Is there a level here where it could bounce from? Yeah, it's an old daily support right here. That's the level that we're kind of watching. So yesterday was an up day. It wasn't a bullish engulfing, as it didn't take out the previous day's high on Fartcoin. But if you're looking for longs, I don't know why you would be, but if you are, this is the level you would want to be long from. You do not want to see this level breaking down and closing candles under it. So yeah, that's it. That's what you got on Fartcoin. And then another one we were watching, Pingu. Once again, this thing it's down almost 4%. So that's why we're looking at Ethereum. It's only down 1.7%. So if it does roll over, there's still potential downside to go. Like, we could see another 2 to 4% if it breaks down. It's going to be a slow day. Probably not going to see a trend to the downside or to the upside. But that's why we're looking at Ethereum. I think we can see what will happen here. We go look at dominance. Let's get rid of the moving averages. Moving averages doesn't really matter on dominance, because dominance just takes what's happening inside of the whole crypto market and ties it all together. So it's just basically your whole crypto market in a sense. But the resistance level is up here. You have broken down below that trend line that comes from way down at the bottom of the chart, but I don't really care about trend lines on this. If you take a trend line from down here and tag it to that low right there, the trend line goes up and through there. Don't really care about trend lines. You can see here that you really haven't gone anywhere since August the 12th. You've just been chopping in a range. If you're going to see downside continuation, then from yesterday's range, if you're looking for downside continuation, then obviously you'd have a bullish bias on your alts. Now, Ethereum did put in a bullish engulfing yesterday at support. That is typically a good signal, right? We typically want to see that continue. Here's August's VWAP on Ethereum. So you're still above that. If I pull up the 21 on the daily time frame, you're above that. So that's a good sign. We closed the daily under it, and then we immediately rejected. So that is a good sign. So I still have a bearish bias on it based on just the small time frame chart. But if you're looking for longs, last week open and the VWAP right here, this would be the level that I would want to see hold. So maybe you don't do anything right at the open. Maybe you give price time. If it trades under, give it a little bit of time. See if it wants to make a fresh daily low, and then see if it gets back above the daily low. If it does, maybe this would be a better place to look for long trades, because you know down here is the monthly VWAP. So you could look, in my opinion, you could look for shorts if you want to, based on the 4-hour structure, based on the 8-hour structure. But the daily chart says Ethereum is still long. It's still a long. Yeah. So it could be a very mixed, very sideways, very difficult day to trade. Just make sure you're mitigating your risk. Make sure you're not risking too much money on these setups, as we're trying to just make a couple bucks, get in, get out. But you can see here, since you've opened the new day range, this thing has been basically trending lower, right? You've made several fresh daily lows. You are making lower daily highs, but that can change in an instant. Let's get our day open marked. Day open is going to be way up there around high day or day high. Moving as far as the volume profile here, the point of control kind of fits for shorts, but you're already undervalued here. So I think I would rather look for shorts up in here. I currently have on a small short that I took at this 4-hour candle's high. I'm getting ready to take that position off, as it is bouncing pretty good here, and I don't necessarily want to lose money on it. So you can see my entries just setting right up there at the this current 4-hour candle high. You look at the RSI on the 4-hour, you're also under the 50. But there's no real bearish momentum here at all. Not yet. We'll see what happens when the market opens. And then if we go over here and look, our VIX traded up to the yearly opening range yesterday. We took a long scalp on the ES futures when that happened. We ultimately did get a move back up on the ES. It took a little while for that to happen though, but ultimately it did bounce and go back to the upside. So that was a profitable trade as well. But if you look at your VIX today, it is back up. It took out this near-term resistance here, closed above it. So the next resistance is going to be here. We traded above that yesterday, rejected off the yearly opening range, closed down, but it still was a higher close than the previous day. So even though this looks like a bearish hammer candle, even though it looks like a reversal, it was still higher than this close. So it is a higher high and a higher close. And so it makes sense today that we opened up a little bit higher and are pushing back up into the highs. We're not quite there yet, but we are seeing a VIX that is up, and it is up almost 4%. Okay, keep that in mind when looking for trade ideas today. And gold is sitting just below it, the GLD short that we've been sitting in for what seems to be about 3,000 days here, not doing anything. We've been in it for 20 days. Exactly. Today makes 20 days. We got short here and we were wrong, but we're still holding it. It just is refusing to roll over. This has a lot to do with the DXY because the DXY is so sideways. So very sideways. But basically, if you have a strong dollar, gold will roll over. If the dollar is weak, then gold will probably pop. This is what we have on the dollar. It's literally not doing anything. We're trading inside of last month's range. We expected support to come in around the 50,618, one of these two levels, or as low as 97.17. These were the three levels that we were looking for the DXY to find support. It did ultimately find support at the 618, right through here. But as you can see, the structure on the daily chart is so bearish, it is having difficulty breaking back out to the upside. Second, the DXY is going to be heavily affected by the rate decision. That is why it is literally moving sideways. We want to get that rate decision, see what the Fed's going to do. If there is no cut, then we would expect the dollar to move back to August's open or head back in that direction. If there is a cut, then maybe we break down. Here's the thing about looking for bearish dollar right now. We don't know how much of that rate cut has already been priced in. So we don't know how much of it has already been priced into the market. But rate cuts would be more bearish than bullish for the dollar. And going back over to Ethereum here as we just got the bell. Let me make sure I'm not losing money on that trade yet. I am not. So clearly on the 5-minute chart, the moving average structure is bearish. Here's going to be your 930 open. So we want to keep an eye on that. Don't have to if you don't want to, as it can clutter up the charts. I get that. And we can actually get rid of the moving averages because the 200 is just under the daily volume weighted average price. So if we're trading above that, then we know we're back above the bearish moving average structure. So bulls are going to be trying to find long positions at the daily low or right here. And we'll see what they do here. I am going to take profits on this. I am probably going to just... Well, we'll see what it does here. Give the market a minute. See what it wants to do. Right off the bell, I don't like to make decisions, but I'm not going to let that trade lose any money. In fact, let me just go ahead and close it right now as it is up $124. That's a nice little win on the day to start the day off. And then we'll look for a new position here once the market settles down a little bit. Like I said, for right now, my bias is slightly bearish because of how we're structured here on the 4-hour. You're under the 50, you're under the 21, you're under pretty much everything. It's that weekly VWAP right here and last week's open that's giving me a little bit of pause. But the structure is definitely bearish. It doesn't mean it will stay bearish today. It just means coming into the bell, it is. And the watch list is pretty red out there, as everything except the dominance chart is red. Nothing really significantly down. Penguin's down over 4%, but other than that, just a pretty red day out there across the board. So I don't mind the idea of looking for shorts. I've already made $100 this morning, so I have a little bit of wiggle room to look for new positions. Bartcoin bouncing off of that daily support level that I told you you would, if you were wanting to be long today, that's the level you would want to be long from. Obviously, your risk would be the low of day. And it's only down 2%, but it has struggled to trend. At least Bonk has more of a trending structure. I kind of like Bonk better. As far as, I mean, that's a nice trend. If you would have shorted at the open yesterday or last night or around the highs, you're in good shape this morning, right? It's been a one-sided move. So Asia opened and sold it, and it's been that way since. London sold it. If Asia and London both sold it, will New York buy it? I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't want to short it at the lows of day. I would rather get a higher position for the short, but it may not give you that entry. It might not be a short today. Going back over here to Ethereum. See it put in that daily low there, and it's traded away from it. The 200 is right up here, so we could expect the 5-minute to get up in this area. And if it stops going higher around 43.05, then we could look for potential short entries. I don't really want to get long. I got long yesterday, and I made money on this expansion higher yesterday. It's just when there's news on Friday, I don't trust these moves, especially because the VIX is up. Let me go look at what the Japanese yen is doing today. Japanese yen is down, but it's been going up for the last 2 hours, but it is a down day. So at least you have that going for you if you are looking for longs. Remember, the Japanese yen is a risk on, risk off asset. So if it's going up, then you would be looking for bearish entries on risk markets. If this is going down, you would be looking for long entries, bearish markets. So the fact that this is a down day, and it does suggest a little bit of weakness in the market. Well, we already know that because the VIX is up. So with the VIX up, well, because it's a down day, we would expect it to find support, right? But we don't know if this is going to go up for the rest of the day. As like I said, it's been going up since the last couple hours here. So if this finds resistance and starts to roll back over, then I wouldn't mind holding long positions. See what ETH does here. The long trade would have already been taken. It would have had to been taken down here, right? Your S&P 500 is at an area of potential support. It's at the previous week's low. And we have a new trend line here for the month of August. So we just took August's low, and then we took August's higher low that was set in yesterday. And we'll see if that trend line can hold risk markets moving forward in time. Right now, it's got to contend with this level. Ethereum's starting to get a little bit of a pop here. If you missed the long on Ethereum and you wanted to take a long on something like Pingu, it's still low enough on the daily range to where you actually could do that in theory, right? You could buy last week's low. and then just low of day is your risk. Whereas Ethereum is already up off of that area. The Ethereum's already in the middle of the daily range. Whereas Pingu is at the bottom half of the daily range. So it's at the lows still. Just because Ethereum goes up does not mean Penguin will, clearly. Dominance is coming in here a little bit weak. It has been weak, or it was weak yesterday. And then, of course, it has been trending lower on weekly time frames. This week was a pullback. Last week was an expansion, as you took out the previous week's low and you closed under it. So this week, as of right now, would be considered a dead cat bounce or a bearish pullback. You would have a bearish bias on this, which does support a bullish ETH. For me, I would want to see Ethereum hold support at that. So we did test the 200 exponential up in here on the 5 minute. That would have been a good short entry. I kind of blew it. Let me go ahead and take a small position short there. It is kind of chasing, and I don't like to do that. But I'll just mitigate my risk from this candle's high. I'll just jump back out. As I took a very small position, I'm already up 120 bucks on the asset. I can afford to lose $20 or $30. So I just jumped in with a small position size, about 1/3 of the position size that I was in earlier. There's a supply candle right here. So if it's going to roll over, we would want to see this be like the highest 5 minute close. The yen did just make a fresh hourly high. VIX kind of still in the same spot. It's currently trading above 1624. That's your daily res on the VIX, 16.24. Right now the VIX is trading at 1651, so it is trading above daily res. So it is threatening to move higher. Till it gets back under 1624, you kind of have to be iffy on your long positions. But you won't know, obviously, what's going to happen till the day goes on. Hopefully everybody's having a good week this week. I'm having a really good week. Up almost $1,000 this week, so doing pretty good. Just taking these little trades one by one, you know. Get on base. That's all I try to do. I'm not trying to knock it out of the park. Not trying to nail home runs with each and every position. Just trying to get on base. That is the best productive way to make money in the markets. Small risk. Easier to control how much you're losing. Makes it much easier to make money when you do get in those nice home run trades, as those will more than take away all your losses. What's up, Lifestyle Media? Peter. Good morning, Janet. What's up, Mario? Good morning. Not a very bearish reaction from the previous 5 minute candle. The way I'm going to manage the GLD position here is essentially if it starts closing 4-hour candles back above the 200 simple, then I will close the position. Multiple candles. Basically, right here's your 200 simple. This is your 200 EMA. So if it starts closing back above July's open and showing me upside continuation, I'll close the trade for a very small loss. We took this via an option spread. So even though we were way up here and we entered it down in here, we were never losing more than 50 bucks. Right? That's how we managed the risk. That's how we managed to stay in it while it was still pushing higher. So if it gets back up in this area, I no longer want to be in it. I've been in it 20 days. It's clearly not working, right? I don't want to just give the premium away. I do still honestly think it will ultimately roll over for a pullback, but that's only if the dollar spikes. The dollar stays weak, then GLD can stay up. Obviously, the dollar isn't the only thing that controls gold. If you got a lot of central banks buying gold up, then clearly it's going to have strength. I'm just saying, if the dollar is not doing anything, then we can't expect the dollar to have any kind of weight on GLD. Go look at our 1 minute, see if the moving average structure has turned around yet. And it's working on it right now. So your 1 minute chart here is trying to work on changing out this 4-hour moving average structure. In a sideways market, moving averages is not going to help, obviously. As long as we're trading under the daily VWAP, I like it lower. It's that simple. So you buyers might actually get a chance to buy this back up if you want to. I mean, if you want to be long, obviously. Excuse me. So if we kill the VWAP. Here, let's not kill it. Let's just get rid of it. This way. We've got 3 of them, so we need to kill them all. So this move right here, that's not, even though it looks scary, right? As long as you're trading close to the 21, as long as you're not down in here, you're still trading close enough to the moving average structure, right? So any pullback would be a buying opportunity. If you start taking out these lows over here, then you're going to be extended away from the moving average. The moving average is telling you here, and for the majority of the day, it has been down. Like you can see it much clearer on the 5 minute, right? As it's just slowly been just a slow methodical move lower. That's typically associated with a pullback only. So this would be a buying opportunity if you have a long bias. I do not. I don't have any bias right now because we need to see what if the Fed's going to be dovish or hawkish tomorrow. Because right now you can make the argument for both directions, for a rate cut or a rate hike. Also, the Japanese yen just got hammered right back down to the daily low. So that might be that's a good signal for longs. And clearly you bears don't want to be seeing it closing back above in here, because then it could be changing the structure to a bullish structure. But I don't like the short if the yen is getting hammered today. I really don't. But as long as we're under the VWAP, I have to have a bearish bias. That's just what my rules say. It doesn't mean that I'm going to be right or make any money, right? Why do I have 4 VWAPs? Okay, so let's delete this one. There we go. Sure, baby. Discipline equals healthy profits. Yeah, like why do I don't really want to give back any of my money that I've made this week, right? You guys know how it is. Come on. When you make money in the market, you don't want to give it back. So on days that aren't really as clear, it's okay to sit on your hands. I'll finish that one. I don't know what made the yen go off like that. I'll show you what I'm talking about here. It was trading up here, like making a fresh hourly high, and then it just dropped all the way back down to the low. It actually made a fresh daily low. So I don't know if some news came out or something, but that was weird. I don't like shorts if this thing is going down. And we're in a bullish market environment. So anytime you get a pullback in the risk markets in a bull market, you should be buying those pullbacks. Should be buying those dips. Should not be trying to short in a bull market. Not for your longer term trades. For a day trade, that's different, right? Because you're only looking for a small move and then you're getting out anyway. But for your swing trading, you should be looking to buy dips, regardless of what your bias is. I think Bitcoin could be a little bit oversold, as it had a pretty significant down move once it made fresh all-time highs. I mean, you got 2 good down days right there, then you had 2 sideways consolidation days, and then 2 expansion days, and you're back into 2 consolidation days. So maybe it isn't that oversold. Not yet. You still haven't reached bearish momentum yet on the daily, but you have on the 4-hour. On the 4-hour, we've been under the 60 for a significant amount of time. And it does suggest that that bearish momentum is waning. I know the chart is disgusting and hard to see anything, but on those higher time frames, this midpoint is so crucial for Bitcoin to stay above. That's your July midpoint. If it's under that, it's hard for me to have a bullish bias. Right here is August's low, guys. The low of the month is right freaking here. Like, I don't like us making a fresh monthly high and then going down instantly to the lows. That's more of a bearish signal than a bullish signal. So the midpoint for July, crucially important for Bitcoin to be able to stay above that for bullish continuation trades. As long as it's under this, people are going to be afraid that Bitcoin is done. I don't think Bitcoin is done. I just don't like it trading under July's midpoint. So we need Bitcoin to get back above that. We need those bulls defending. Excuse me. Love water when it's ice cold. Yum, it's the best stuff on the planet. So Bitcoin right here would be kind of a short setup, in my opinion. I mean, clearly these underside wicks here do indicate that the bulls are picking it up at support, right in this 113, 238 area. It's also going to be really close to the New York Open. So they are trying to buy it pretty much. But Bitcoin looks a lot weaker on the 4-hour chart than Ethereum does, right? Ethereum looks just like a pullback, like a standard bull flag here. I mean, you got under the 21. There was your downside continuation. You popped right back above it. So it does look like the bulls are trying to defend this area. Will they be able to? Obviously, that will be answered. But as of right now, it's anybody's game. It's anybody's game out there. I don't have the news bot pulled up or anything like that. I honestly think that it'd just be sideways and choppy. I wouldn't doubt it if we make a fresh day low and a fresh day high today. Like, we could see that kind of garbage price action. Clearly, if I'm going to be sitting in a short position, I would much rather it go lower, but what I want the market to do and what the market does, two different things. I'm trying to keep an eye on dominance and other things as dominance is pushing back up towards day highs. ES struggling to make higher highs and higher lows on a small time frame chart. In the cash market, you're back down to the low edge of the weekly expected range. In the cash market, that would be your SPX. Here is your low edge expected range. That's what the options market prices in every week. They give you that. That's where it held support yesterday. It's where support is trying to come in today. Like I said, there's your dominance chart pushing back up to highs. That's what's putting a little bit of near-term pressure on Ethereum. I mean, the structure of this just looks like a short, right? It's easy to see, guys. It's real easy to see. Lower highs, lower lows, all day long. If there's any symbols that you want me to take a look at, we do trade everything on this channel. So if you have stocks, options, futures, everything, if there's something that you think has a setup or is showing a potential trade idea, drop it in the chat. I will take a look at it for you. We are watching a few assets We took a long on UNG yesterday because we made fresh yearly lows and fresh 2024 lows. We took a long yesterday, so we're trying to see if it can just bounce out of this area. Clearly it's bearish. Clearly this is against the trend. Not looking for any massive win out of this or anything. Just looking to see if this is going to be the lows for now. We're also watching Qualcomm. We like it lower. As long as it starts closing dailies back under this, our downside target would be 142. We haven't taken a position on this yet. This is still on watch, and we're looking for this gap to fill on UNH, United Healthcare. We can get a gap fill back down to around 275. We will then look to see if we can find support. We'll look to put on bullish positioning, basically because it's 50% off. I mean, UNH is a good company to own, and it's pulled back over 50%. It's had a lot of bad news this year, a lot of bad things that happened. So it's basically giving you an opportunity to buy UNH at a discounted half off almost, right? Not bad. And then Zoom, kind of, I don't remember. Oh, I think this was going to be a YOLO earnings play today. So we'll see. I think we can put this on for like 60 bucks. To just see if it wants to YOLO and run the stops up here above Q3 2023's high. But for right now, we're just kind of chilling, watching to see if Ethereum breaks down here intraday. JYAI. I have never heard of this. Is it a crypto? Obviously, it looks like a crypto. I guess we'll look at it on Poloniex. I mean, this thing has zero liquidity in it. Zero liquidity. This might not even be what you're asking to see. JYAI. Yeah, I don't know. Let me see what MEXC says. Still very, very thinly traded. Something like this, you have to be very careful because it could be hard to get in and out of positions. Right now, it's trying to break below the 21 exponential moving average. You're also under the midpoint of August's range, which is never a good signal. That means you're a lot weaker than you were earlier in the month. There's typically or usually a reason for that. This is a bearish engulfing candle. You have taken out the previous week's high. You've taken out the previous week's low. So basically, if this is going to hold support, you would want to see it hold support here or here. But right now, clearly this week, it is weak. You might bounce today, as it does look like you liquidated last week's low and are bouncing, but can it sustain that bounce? That's the question. So yeah, as long as you're defending 181141, you could see it bounce as high as 219090, as that's probably where the sellers will come back into play. So this is just a bearish bounce, or a dead cat bounce, if you will, for now. If you start trading back above this and holding support up in here, then it could start to rally again. But right now, it's very weak. Ethereum bouncing pretty strong off of last week's open, as the yen is rolling back over again. And Tesla is bearish again on the day. Tesla's is very sideways here. So we have gotten the move we wanted to see, but since it was such a deep push, we didn't get what we wanted, right? We wanted to see it close right in this area, but we didn't want to see that big of a move under it. And then we wanted to see a gap up today. We didn't get that. So for right now, it looks like downside and downside continuation. Tesla's in a long-term range. You're trading inside May's range. So even though there's a symmetrical triangle drawn out on this chart, I don't think that is as important as May's high and May's low. As if you look at the monthly chart, you can clearly see that you're trading inside of a 5-month range or 4-month range here. So May's high and May's low will be the breakout point for Tesla. Right now, you're basically in the middle of the range. So when you're trading in the middle of the range, you expect choppy price action. If you look at this on an intraday, like a 30-minute, it is trending to the downside. So as long as you're trading under the 30-minute 100 EMA, we would be looking for shorts on an intraday basis only. It was a failed breakout of the symmetrical triangle, so that would suggest the near term is more weak than it is strong. But like I said, there is a massive measured move that can take place here on Tesla when it finally does break out of this range. So if it breaks out to the upside, we have a target of 390 to the upside. If it breaks it back out to the downside with continuation, our target would be 271. Massive amount of points in here outside of this triangle. But remember, the May low is the range. And the May high up in here is the range. It's the range to beat. So as long as you're in there, it can be very choppy and a difficult trade. I do like it. I do have more of a bullish bias on it as the overall market is structured bullish, not bearish. You're seeing a small pullback right now. Very small, very normal pullback. And like I said, when you're in a bullish market environment, you should be a buyer on dips. Should be a buyer on dips. Obviously, rate cuts, that's what everybody's looking for. But as long as the 30-year and 20-year, 10-year yields continue to push up, the market's saying, well, they might not cut rates. And that's true. If they don't, we could potentially see more choppy sideways and down price action on the risk markets if they fail to cut interest rates. So be careful trading Tesla and pretty much anything that is, risk on. XMR is moving decently. That's stellar. I do have that on the watch list. It is up 3%. Damn, this thing is moving nice. Looks like it's rejecting. It's rejecting daily res. I forgot to take a look at this. Remember when we looked at this Tuesday, I said if it traded back up to 274.16, I would want to be putting on a short position right there. It traded right up to there today and gave you an opportunity to get short. Hopefully you took it if you were with us on Tuesday and knew to take it there. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty much, like I said, that's where I would have been looking for the short. And unfortunately, I didn't pay attention to it. I wish I would have. But it is what it is. I can't catch them all. It could bounce here, sure. Absolutely. I would still have a downside bias on it as long as it's trading under the midpoint of the monthly range expansion. So any bounce would be faded in my opinion. Every bounce right there is the level that I said to look for shorts. Right there. Like it was a perfect test. Boom. Hit the sell button, baby. Yeah. Damn it. I wish I would have put an alert there. That was so nice. Yeah, it is moving. I agree. It still looks okay for the day's range. I mean, the daily it still looks okay. No, I'm not saying the Bears have won yet. I'm just saying that's where I would have looked to put on my short trade. As long as it can hold support right here, this thing could slowly migrate right back to the upside. So keep an eye if you are buying this or If you're selling it, you can only be a seller up here. So being down here, more than likely people would be trying to buy it. As long as you're not closing 30-minute candles under 264, I like it higher. For the near term, right? Clearly my bias is bearish. I would be sitting in the short. And I'm not just saying that in hindsight or cherry picking it. It's literally what I told you to do on Tuesday. That would have been my short entry. But the yen is making fresh daily lows. So we could see alts push. And this thing is up 3.4% on the day. So it is up on the day. Just because it had a nice negative reaction there does not mean they will be able to keep it down. Let's look where the point of control is. The point of control is down here. I don't necessarily love that, but it could have just been a liquidation. A lot of these buyers, early buyers, right in here is your London session. So your London session came online. It looks like people started buying it, right? So it makes sense that a run back under that would cause a significant liquidation. Yeah, this would be your support zone. If you're closing candles under it, it might be failing. As long as it's above it, it's still okay. PanW is a software company. I think longer term, AI is going to have a pretty negative effect on software companies. It will be interesting to see which ones are able to basically keep their presence in this market. It's pulled back significantly here, and I don't know if it was bad news or what, but that was a pretty big pullback. As long as you're trading under the yearly opening range, it's threatening lower prices. All right. So right here would be my line in the sand as to be bullish or bearish on the stock long term. Long term, this will be like the defining area, because above it, you're bullish on the year. Below it, you're negative on the year. So what this does right here in the coming days will dictate how people position moving forward. So if it slowly trades back away from the yearly opening range in the downward positioning, then I would expect sellers to hit it. All right. You're right now testing an area that needs to hold a support. There's a gap under you, so maybe if it fills that gap, it starts to get bullish again, maybe. A lot of volume came in here on this push back up into the yearly opening, and it clearly people were selling that. Because see down here how your volume spiked above average on these 3 days. So yeah, they're defending, the sellers are defending, if you will, the yearly open. If it rejects here, I would expect fresh yearly lows, or at the very minimum, fresh August lows. You did just get an earnings call, and it was a beat, both top and bottom lines. So maybe they said something on the press conference the market didn't really care for, because it wasn't a massive bounce. But right here is a very, very important area. Now I might put this on watch for a shorting opportunity or a long opportunity, depending on what it does moving on in the future. Right now, I would be more leaning towards the sell side. But if it can get back above this, then my bias completely changes. If it can hold support above 184, I like it higher. Remember, AI is going to have a pretty significant impact on some software companies. Perfect. Going back over here to Ethereum. It's still struggling here at the 205 minute and the intraday volume weighted average price. This white line, intraday volume weighted average price. Today we were expecting chop coming into today based on tomorrow's significant news. Jerome Powell will be speaking at 10 a.m. from Jackson Hole, and all eyes will be glued to that press conference. So today is likely going to be a very sideways day. But the sellers are clearly not holding this thing down. Bitcoin is spiking a little bit here on the 30-minute, getting a nice little pamp to the upside. There's what it looks like on the 30-minute. Nice little pampage going on. That's a fresh higher high. That's nice. What you want to see if you're sitting on the bullish side. It's definitely not what you want to see if you're trying to short Bitcoin today. And Ethereum is right now testing 4-hour supply. It's also where your point of control is. So we'll see if they're able to hold it, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to. Doesn't look great. I'm going to go ahead and jump out of that short as I am starting to lose a little bit of money here. I don't want to lose more than $50 on the short, as I made 120 earlier. I want to keep that money, but I am going to watch it. If it does show signs of weakness or failure, I might try it again. We just have to give it some time to see. The further away it gets from the moving average structure starts to put me in a little bit of caution, right? I don't want to jump into the short if this thing is trading far away from the 21 to the upside, because it could be suggesting that we are changing the daily structure around here from being bearish to bullish. Since Asia sold and since London sold, I could imagine New York coming in and saying, no, we're buying, right? Because everybody's bearish coming into the day. Everybody. Day open is all the way up here. The high of day is just right above it. So down here, I still kind of like it to the downside. I just want to see it stop advancing with higher closing candles. That's what I need to see. Can it stop advancing? If it continues to advance higher, then I don't like it. We were able to trade above the VWAP today a few times. Is right in here. We traded above it. We traded above it for a little while right in here. Right now we're above it. So we'll see if the buyers can defend it. Over in here, you were above it briefly. See, that's the problem, right? The buyers got it above, but we're unable to keep it up there. They're doing a pretty decent job right now. Would I buy this right here? No, I wouldn't, because I would say if you do liquidate the high of day, there's a really good chance that it falls back in the range because of the news tomorrow. But since Ethereum is more structured to the upside on the higher time frame charts, we could absolutely see this thing start to become back into that bullish trend, right? Okay, so you're getting ready to take out the last 4-hour candles high. That's pretty significant. As right now you're bullish engulfing on the 4-hour once you take out that high. So if you smoke this level right here, you've got a bullish engulfing candle as long as you are above the 8 o'clock opening price. Which is all the way down here. Starting to get a little bit overbought on the 1 minute, but I mean, at this point, you've already basically, you've gotten your golden cross there. I know it's a 1 minute and it doesn't really matter, but if the bears were in control, you would not be seeing price advance away from this. It would set up a grind. This is clearly advancing. So we want to leave it alone. It looks like we're not going to get our short just yet. We're not done with it though. Like I said, if it liquidates the day high, which is right here, and rejects, we could potentially short that. That would be the last attempt for me on it, because I've already lost once. So that makes it a bullish engulfing 4-hour candle. There's still 2 hours left on this 4-hour. An hour and 41 minutes. So plenty of time for this to turn back into a bearish engulfing. A lot of chop. This is what we expected. The yen is going down. It is making fresh daily lows. So I don't love a short right here. S&P is pushing up also. And your Bitcoin dominance just put in a 30-minute bearish engulfing. VIX is back under 1625. Which is daily res. 1624 is daily res. As long as you're under that, the bulls are in control. Dollar is also pushing up the fresh day highs. I don't understand how dollar strength helps Ethereum, but whatever. You would think dollar strength would actually put a burden on Ethereum. And it still might up there at the high of day. The yen put in a large consolidation formation and broke out to the upside and immediately rejected that and rolled over. So I can't really draw. I don't know how to do drawing tools on this chart because I only put entries on this chart. But if you can see this wedging formation right here, you can see how we broke out to the upside and then failed right back into this wedge. And then we're now breaking down. So this looks like a false breakout. Here's your trend. And then another trend. And then you went back into this consolidation for a period of time. Long time. These are 1-hour candles. So multiple days of price action here. Broke out, failed. This has more bullish ramifications, or risk on, if you will. Risk on. Risk on. Bullish Ethereum, bullish Bitcoin. S&P bounced off of the previous week's low. The support did hold here, and you are seeing a slight advance take place off of that level. And then once again, there's your bearish engulfing dominance candle. So it looks like bulls were right today. Pingu bounced off of the level I told you to look to be a buyer at. I don't know if Pingu will be able to hold it. It's much weaker on the higher time frame charts, but it still looks okay. Maybe if you still have a bearish bias, you could look to short something that's like more weak, like one of these weaker ones, because Ethereum is still very bullish. This one isn't as weak as like Fartcoin is. Fartcoin is pretty much bearish as can be. Farcoin gave back all of July's range right through here, closed down on the month of July, opened August, set the August high and rolled over, and now you're bearish for July and August. So Farcoin is a lot weaker. If you do have a bearish bias, I would be looking to short something like this instead of something that is super strong. Be careful shorting Farcoin because it can rip your face off. This thing can get going. It can move 20% in a day, no problems. Ethereum right back under that previous 4-hour candle high. The yen is still rolling over though, so I would expect people to probably try to buy this. That dollar strength though could stop it from making fresh daily highs. As far as ARC G as an indicator on rate cut sentiment, I mean, everybody's expecting the Fed to lower rates, right? More people expect the Fed to lower than there are people out there that expect them to do nothing. What's up, Nick? Yeah, Farcoin isn't really doing much today. It's still down 2.4%. It's very choppy. It's hardly trending and have been staying away from it. I mean, it has given nice moves. It gave a nice move right at the open yesterday. A huge move, but you didn't get that continuation. It just went right back into chop mode. I try to stay out of them when they're doing this because you're just putting that capital to work for no reason. I would rather trade something that's trending, but it could start trending. It could absolutely start trending, as it's been pretty choppy for a while now. I mean, to be honest, you were trending through here, went into a period of consolidation, and then you can see how you're getting smaller and smaller trend moves that could signify a potential reversal coming. But, I mean, it's weak. There's no doubt about it. This thing is weak. Disgusting price action. If you have a bearish bias on it, I can understand why. S&P starting to find a little bit of near-term resistance. The right down here is where I would want to see the buyers kick back up again. I can't buy it. Not yet, but I would have been a buyer down here if I was going to buy it. If I had a bullish bias like we did yesterday, right? We bought as close to the low as we could. But I don't have a bullish bias today. It's just because I knew today would be potentially choppy coming into today. You're still down on the day on all the alts. It's still red out there. Lots of red. Gold is barely down. Silver is up 0.5%. So silver is moving higher even with a strong dollar. That's weird. It's very weird that silver is moving up with the DXY. I mean, the DXY is on highs. It's not only strong, it's making fresh day highs. You're up at the day high. Boom. That's going to be that news, but it didn't have negative implications yet on Ethereum. If you think Ethereum's done, this would be the area to short it. This would be your opportunity to put on short risk. Like I said, there's still plenty of time. It could potentially put in a bearish engulfing, but doesn't feel like it. Not with the yen pushing on lows. And the VIX rolling over from daily res. I think your bulls are going to be trying to buy the pullbacks here. Let's get rid of the previous week's highs. We've already taken that out. It's not yesterday's high, it's only today's high. Yesterday's high is up a little bit higher. Old daily support is where it found support under the 1 hour EMAs. Yep. I'm still short from 98.73 on Fartcoin. That's a good price. I mean, you're 10 cents lower. If you're short from 98, you're in good shape. Fartcoin's trading at 89 cents. 98 puts your short positioning way up here. So nice work. Right at August's open. Good job. Good job. Yeah, and there's no reason for you to do anything with that trade, right? No point in doing anything with it yet. It's not even threatening your short. Get back above the yearly opening range, then you would be a little bit more concerned. But you got a long ways to go before you're doing that. And that's literally where it rejected yesterday. I mean, here's your day open over in here, right here. It pushed up to the yearly opening range and boom, big sellers hammering it down. Dominance closed on the low of that 30-minute candle. It's not on the low of day, but it's close. There's your bearish engulfing there. So it might be looking for downside continuation. As like I said, I mean, that does look like a bear flag. People are probably going to be looking to buy their alts now because of that look. I think it's okay as long as it can stay above 42.93. As back under that, people are going to think it's lost its steam for the day. But this is absolutely a good look for an upside expansion. That's typically what you want to see in like a 3-bar type of pattern. Expansion, retracement, expansion. But you kind of already got that here. Expansion, retrace, expansion. You might be getting ready to see another one of these big boys. I don't know. That 4-hour high, not the best area to put on risk, but it is, if you still have a bearish bias, it's not a bad place to try it, right? Because we don't know what price will ever do. It's just right now things are kind of supporting more upside in risk markets as a whole. Like the IWM is even pushing up. It's not a big up day on the IWM, but it is up. You opened a little bit lower than you closed yesterday, so it was a gap down. This could just be a gap fill on the IWM. We do have a long position open in this, but we took it last week before the big move higher. We want to see if it holds support. Rate cuts would be good for IWM, so this will probably just trade sideways the rest of the day going into tomorrow's press conference. I'm not really interested in doing anything on IWM. If he comes out and sounds hawkish, then clearly you don't want to be holding longs on IWM, because it will look like a breakout failure. She did break out of this consolidation to the upside, but immediately went right back into consolidation. It's not what I want to see when looking for a short squeeze. We were expecting continuation after we put in this aggressive move higher, but it did not give that to us. It immediately went back into consolidation. It's not really a good sign. It's not a terrible sign. I mean, it's better than bad, but I wanted to see upside continuation. That would also support the broader markets, all right? Getting a little bit of a rejection here, so this is where we expect the buyers to come back into play, if they're going to. Did you get any kind of migration up on the POC, the point of control? No. Well, almost. Look, you almost migrated higher. You did get a volume spike up there at that 4-hour swing high. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's not looking great for the buyers. It's not looking terrible yet. This is a retesting opportunity. As long as it holds above 930, I think the buyers still are okay, but right here's your protect zone. It's your intraday VWAP. This is where buyers are going to want to step back up. A pullback on declining volume, that also supports a potential bullish move. Yep, and you're even seeing that happen on regular volume. Pullback in volume and on price is okay. You just have to see if they can defend this area. See, that dollar strength might be putting a little bit of a lean on Ethereum, is stopping it from breaking back to the upside. It's not helping GLD rollover, I can tell you that. That sucks. I've been in this thing for so long, I might as well just marry it. Break down, you piece of garbage. Gold is so choppy, and it has been so choppy for so long. I mean, what is that? That's a bullish engulfing daily candle yesterday. So dumb. Sideways. Gotta love sideways price action, don't we? S&P kind of traded up to the day open, and that's not the cash market. The cash market's currently above the open, but I'm talking about the CFD product, the S&P 500. It tracks the ES futures, kind of pulling back off the highs. or before you get to the open. Sorry, not the highs. Where is the daily high on that? Well, the day high isn't much further than the open. About 6,400, a little bit above 6,400. It's still okay as long as it can hold the midpoint right in this area. This is the area it needs to hold on a closing basis. Still got 21 minutes on this, so expect a little bit of sideways choppiness in through here. Remember, bulls can defend as low as the 930 open down here. But just see how easy it was to put on a short there, basically just knowing that that's that previous 4-hour high. So easy to mitigate risk just by knowing if it fails to go higher than that, I want to be short or whatever. Your biases, whatever your bias is, use objective price points on the chart to put your risk on and you'll do fine. Just make sure you're not taking big losses and many of them. And your portfolio will grow. What did... Let me see here. XMR still up, 374. 3.72% up. It's trying to defend the daily midpoint. We don't really care about that. This is the major level that it needs to defend. Because that's your monthly expansion. So, not great, right? So even though you had a nice 3-day spike here on XMR, it's still a sell. It's a sell as long as you're under that. So, in theory, if it gets up here and rejects, that could potentially be a short opportunity, because that would be a 4-hour supply zone. S&P's testing the midpoint right now of that 30-minute expansion. Still 19 minutes left on this. Ethereum is almost giving it all back. It's not great. Not great. The buyers need to stick in here and they need to stick in hard. This could just be an overshoot, a liquidation. People trying to get too over leveraged too early. If it continues to push like this, then clearly something else is going on. Same thing could be said for this. It could have just still been a short and it just got overstretched. It got overheated based on leverage. People shorting in this area stopped them out and then rolled right back over. Still a significant amount of weakness out there. Like I said, it's hard to buy. It's hard for me to be a buyer when my watch list looks like this, guys. It's like, whoa, yeah, about that. Can we talk about this? At least, can we talk about it for a minute? Yeah, Bitcoin's back down to, it's putting in fresh daily lows as we speak. Boom, right there was your low of day on Bitcoin. So now it could literally just roll right back to the upside. Tomorrow is when we're going to get the big news event. Tomorrow is when I would expect a trending day. We could see a downtrending day for the rest of the day on Bitcoin, but I mean, the structure was clearly bearish coming into this session. A lot easier to just be bearish when that's the case. It ain't over though. S&P not breaking down. Not yet. Cash market, in fact, on the S&P is absolutely testing the 21 exponential on a daily time frame. So this little area here is probably going to see a lot of volume based on that 21. Bitcoin made fresh day low. Very choppy. Dollar still expanding up. A downtrending day would be lovely. I just don't know if we're going to get it. Are you in the live stream, Brian? Yeah, the gold trade is right here. I don't know what, I mean, that's the reason I'm doing the live stream, so that way we can do it live. But here's the gold trade. I don't know what there is to see. I've been talking about it for 2 weeks right here. See that? December 19, 2025. But we put this on 20 days ago. It's a spread trade, so it manages risk easier. This trade is down like $3 right now. Our downside target is 303 on GLD. But that was days ago. It's not necessarily, the setup doesn't, I mean, can it still apply today? Yeah, I guess you could put it on today because it's basically in the same place it was when I took the short. So when we failed to break out over here, this was a complete failure. Boom, boom, boom. And then it broke out to the downside of this symmetrical triangle. Doesn't look right, but it is right on the 4 hour. It's a perfect symmetrical triangle on the 4 hour time frame. So basically when it broke down here, we entered it on this day as we wanted to see the July open hold as resistance. It clearly did not, as it traded back up to the top of the triangle, and then it rolled back over. But because it rolled back over and has failed to give us downside continuation, it's putting in a rising wedge or a declining wedge, whatever you want to call it, descending wedge. And these typically break out to the upside. If the dollar goes up, then I would expect this to roll over, ultimately. But this is my line in the sand. If we're back up above that, I'm getting out because I've just been in it for too long. It has not done anything since it broke down here. It's literally been in consolidation for 20 days. So if it does break down, I do think we could see a large move, larger than 303. My ultimate downside target on a breakdown is May's low because that's the range we are in. We are inside of May's candle. So ignore this. Ignore this. Just look at this right here. You're a 4-month range. You did break out and throw a wick above there, but you failed to give continuation above that level. That's a failure. That's what an SFP or a swing failure pattern. You failed to get upside continuation when you broke out. You instead put in a reversal and went back into the range. So this would have been a perfect liquidation break trade. You liquidated this swing high, pushed up a little bit higher, and then ultimately rolled over. Boom. All the way down to here. Right there's July's open, so you went into a new month and have done nothing. You're trading inside of an inside candle. So in order to get broken out of this, like if you break out of this range, my long-term downside target would be 272, potentially. You'll find a little bit of support here first, but that's if it breaks down out of this range. So for now, my downside target is 303, just above July's close. That's why I structured the trade that way. I said if it fails here at July's open, then my target would be July's close. So if we get down there, I can take the trade off, take my money, and then reevaluate. Look for a new entry for the potential test all the way down to here. But there will be potential areas of support. So I'm not looking for a straight run lower. So it takes time. I would expect something like this. Right? Like a long time. But we'll see if it works or not. Above here, I'm getting out. Screw it. Because I've been in it for too long. I'll just wait for the breakdown and then look to get in a new position then. When we get the momentum. It's just wedging up. It's tightening up. So when you ultimately do get that spike in momentum, then we could see a larger move. This pattern doesn't have to break down. It can break out to the upside too. So if you were to break out above May's high here with upside continuation, then I would have like a longer term upside target of 330. So I really don't care which direction it breaks out here. For me, it doesn't matter. I want to capitalize on the expansion. Which way it goes doesn't matter. Doesn't matter to me. I'm not holding it long term. I do hold gold, like gold coins and whatnot, but I'm not trading those. I'm trading options on GLD. Hopefully that makes sense to you. But yeah, technically you could still put this trade on. The level of resistance that I want to see hold is July's open. If we get back above that, then the next level of resistance would be August's VWAP, right? And then August's high, which is here. That's why I can't be short if we're trading above July's open. We could threaten here and then here. And I'll just get out. So it needs to hold resistance right here. And GLD is a very, very slow trading asset when you put it together as a spread. Like as a spread, I think we were risking $250 to make $250 or something like that. It was a very easy to manage risk type of trade. And there's tons of time left. Still have 120 days on the premium. We are losing money on theta decay over time. The longer it spins in this choppy sideways, we will lose a couple bucks or like whatever, a couple pennies a day. But if it don't start to move soon, I'm going to have to get out of it. Otherwise, I'm going to lose that premium to theta decay. Once you get beyond 45 days to expiration, the theta decay becomes more rapid. It's an exponential curve, the way theta decay works. It works as an exponential curve. So like that would be your 90 days out, 45, 30. So your theta decay rate looks like this, right? It gets exponential the closer you get to expiration. So that's why we went way out in time, to give it a little bit of time. But as far as the position goes, like it's not losing money right now. It's still setting at nothing burger because we went far out in time. Right there's your GLD. So P&L open is nothing, right? And we've been in the trade for 20 days. Oh, right here's days open. 20 days this thing hasn't done anything. It's very sideways, very choppy. I told you they would defend down here on Ethereum. That weekly VWAP. You've also got August VWAP. And Bitcoin liquidated the low of day and bounced. So I would not be surprised at all if Bitcoin ends up liquidating the high of day now. I wouldn't be expecting upside continuation if it does. I would expect it to liquidate the day high and then roll right back into the day range, because it's waiting for tomorrow. It's like going to refuse to break out either direction, more than likely. Obviously it can. I don't know what price will do. But if it was to go back up and liquidate this, I would say it goes right back in and does this for the rest of the day. Absolute chop fest. Big news tomorrow. PSKY was a long idea we were talking about yesterday. You want me to look at that? Damn. Nice. I told you it's worth money at that price. Yeah, I like it. The UFC has millions and millions of fans, so this is Paramount. This Paramount Skydance Corporation, they signed the UFC on this day to a 7-year or 8-year, $7 billion contract, something like that. Lots of billions, lots of years. That will pull in customers to Paramount Plus. I will buy a Paramount subscription come January the 1st because of the UFC. Anybody in America from January 2026 will be able to watch all UFC fights for a small subscription fee. It destroys the pay-per-view model. It will help this company make money long term. So for the next 7 years, I figured $13 was a good price to buy it. It's looking good today. Looking good today. And going further, like if it rolls back over, this is like my line in the sand for it. As long as it can stay trading above $11.57, I think this is worth a long-term hold. I'll reevaluate if it breaks down. I'll wait for a liquidation below August's low, and then if it goes back into August's range, I'll be a buyer at $9.95. But as long as it's, holding support above 11.57, I like it. I don't know how much value it will cause to happen over time, but I think it was worth $13.50. So yeah. Good stuff. Like it. I love it. Want some more of it. So the S&P 500 is finding support at that midpoint, like we expected it to. It is, for now, finding support. Intraday 21 exponential, the buying op in a bullish market. VIX is rejecting daily res. That's what we want to see. Could you buy Bitcoin now that it's did the liquidation? Well, the liquidation point would have been the best place to buy. That would have been the area to mitigate the risk. That's what we said going into the trading session. If you want to buy Bitcoin, maybe wait for the liquidation and then look to be a potential buyer. Will that hold? Obviously, I don't know, but it's an easy area to mitigate risk. You spent 3 minutes there. At the very least, you could have bought it and used this to manage your risk. Because if you're trading back under it, you don't necessarily want to be holding it long, as it could be threatening fresh day lows. And you don't want to be holding an asset long when it is making fresh daily lows all day long. You're just going to get absolutely wrecked. Ethereum did not make fresh day lows. The buyers are trying to defend the New York session open. There's two supports under it, being the weekly and August's volume weighted average price. So the buyers want to see this hold. I don't see Brian in the chat, so I'm not sure he's in here, but hopefully you're in here, Brian. Hopefully you got that GOD trade and I said everything I needed to say about it. If you still have more questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. Andy says, since 2021, Ethereum seems to have had significant support and resistance level at 4,100. Do you find it significant that ETH bounced off that zone yesterday? So 4,100 has to be an objective price point for me. Let's go to a new chart, a clean chart. Now, the way that I operate is I try to take subjectivity out of trading. I try to get rid of it, as much of it as I possibly can. You said that 4,100 seems to be a significant support and resistance level. So let's Alt-H 4,100 and then go see why, right? Why is that a significant support and resistance level? Well, right off the rip, I can tell you why. It's literally 2024's high, right? There's March, December, both of those months inside 2024's range. That is your 2024 high. Now, it became this, right? Because this was a liquidation above that, and then it rejected. So the reason 4,100 is, for now, going forward in time, is because of that. It's the 2024 high. yeah, it could absolutely act as support. It did kind of yesterday, right? Yep, it kind of did. So yes, moving forward, as long as you are closing daily candles above 4109, I wouldn't mind holding long Ethereum. I do want to see if it was a significant resistance or support before that. So before it became 2024's high. Not really, right? Not really. I mean, there was no reason for it to reverse 4100 here, other than 4100 just being a big figure number. But that isn't what caused price to reverse. It was 4390 before it reversed. So yeah, not much of anything here. Back in here, I mean, you could argue and say it was because those wicks, but the objectivity would be from that candle's close. The higher time frame candles, like, you don't have a monthly close in here or anything, an open or nothing like that. It's just literally 2024's high. I do like it, but it has to hold. It has to hold. Because you are currently seeing upside continuation from now. So what we can objectively state for the year 2025 for Ethereum is, after it broke out above 2024's high, it showed a willingness to give us bullish advancement from that point. And it did. She broke out there, you continued, and then another day of continuation. So that's why I said on the longer term, Ethereum still looks very good. It is still very constructive. This would be nothing more than a bullish pullback for now. For now. That becomes a lot less of the fact once you are back under the midpoint of August's expansion. So like when we closed the month of July, it closed up on highs. So we opened the month of August, we set a monthly low above the midpoint of July's range. And that's where support came in. So this was a bullish pullback over here. So that would have been your high. This is how we trade, right? This is why I'm trying to teach you the way I do these things, to help you analyze price more consistently and better. Like, there's no subjectivity in it, really. You kind of see what's going on. So like, we would have been saying in July that as long as it's trading above this, it still looks good. It looks real good. So we could see a pullback, maybe take out this weekly low, maybe retest the 21 exponential, something like that, before we become a buyer again. But as long as we're above this, we're good. Right here's August's open, so just play it out one more day. Whoop, one more day. Sorry. Yeah, boom. Okay, so we just opened a fresh month in August. This would have become August open. So going on, So going on in the month of August, we would be a buyer of Ethereum as long as it isn't below 3157. Because the advance that was made in July is still good, and we may see upside continuation in August. But we want to see support form somewhere above this. As if price breaks down below this, this will cause people that got long in here to sell. They will assume it's going to give back the range. as long if it's trading under this, right? So that would put more fear in the market, more selling pressure. But it didn't. It found support. Gave you one more day, and then right here, you got one more day of continuation. So now we would be a buyer right here at daily support on a retest if we get it. If we get upside continuation, then we would be looking to be a buyer here. So you didn't get a test of either one of those levels. Ooh, we would have bought this potentially as a midpoint check of that day's range. So yeah, that would have been our entry, as it was a midpoint check of this expansion day. The midpoint. Look how it closed right on it. Perfection. We've been a buyer at the low of this day for the liquidation break or at the open. Those would have been the two areas to buy, since we didn't retest this level. So now moving forward in time, right? Moving forward in time where we are now, you can see why I'm so obsessed over August's range. Because the same principle applies. That's why this asset looks better than Bitcoin or anything else, because look where it bounced yesterday. You see what I'm saying? This is why we had a bullish bias yesterday. We're still defending August's midpoint. If we lose August's midpoint, then and only then would I be worried about Ethereum threatening to run down to 3662 for a test of the 786 of August's range. But as long as it's above the midpoint of August, we have a bullish bias. Longer term. On an intraday basis, looking for intraday scalps, the only thing I need to examine is what's happening on an intra-week basis. I don't care what's going on the broader, like, monthly and yearly time frames when I'm only looking for a small intraday scalp. Because I'm only trying to capitalize on this daily range, this day right here. I'm only looking to capitalize on that. So hopefully that helps you understand why I analyze price the way I do. It's literally trying to take the subjectivity out of it, looking at it objectively as possible, and then making a decision on where to put the risk on at. So, like, I don't know that price is going to hold as resistance here, but the objective price point that is standing here is the last 4-hour swing high. So if price is going to continue to advance, then it should have no trouble staying above this point. If it gets back under it, then I can short it right here and put my stop there, saying that price might be going back down to test this candle's open or the low. And if there's enough of a range in there, say 2%, which there isn't, there's only a 1% move from here to there, then I can short it and expect like a 2% move, right? That's typically what I look for, 2%. If I can risk, 0.5% to 1% to gain 2%, then I will win as long as I have a better than a 50% hit rate. So it just makes it easier to manage risk in a way that it puts the probabilities and the odds on my side. I lose. So coming into the day, I'm up 120 bucks. I try one trade a little bit earlier down here, right? And I get stopped out, so that takes away 30 bucks. Well, I still have a near-term sell-side bias. So if we reject the previous 4-hour candle's high, then I can throw on a short there, manage my risk by that candle's high. If it gets above, I go out, I exit, and then I eat another loss. But if it does reject there and goes down, then I just add to what I've already made today. See, I'm not trying to predict what price will do. I am merely reacting to what it is doing. That is all. And I manage the amount of money that I put at risk. So when my first position, I had what? $1,800 on risk. I have only $850 on risk. So I dramatically reduced my position sizing on the second entry because the first entry that I took was a loss. So to keep me from losing another 50 bucks or 30 bucks or whatever, I shrink the position size, I take the entry, and then if it does continue, I get out with a smaller loss, but that would still add to the second loss. After I eat 2, I'm done. I'm no longer going to try to react to price because price isn't giving me any clear directional, it's not giving me any continuation. Price is just chopping inside the daily range, or worse, inside this 4-hour candle's range. Like, that would suck. That would suck. But everything has changed now. There's only 45 minutes left on this 4-hour candle. So it went from being a bullish engulfing up here, it was a bullish engulfing candle. But when this candle closes, will it be a bullish engulfing or a bearish engulfing? Well, if it were to close right now, it would be a bearish engulfing. So I'm never trying to predict what price will do, ever. That's not what makes me successful. What makes me successful at doing this is I manage my money better than other people, right? The people that can't get it, they just don't understand that it's not about my power to predict price movements. It's my power in managing risk that makes me good at it. Those are like, that's what YouTubers should be teaching you all, not, all this subjective analysis, like all this subjective garbage that's out there. It doesn't work. Price is chaotic. You've got billions of dollars flowing in and out of these markets for any given reason. Like, you're never going to be able to predict what it's going to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's impossible. I'm not expecting this to continue today because of tomorrow. I've said that multiple times. I mean, obviously, if it does continue, then I will be positioned okay for it. But coming into the day, I've had more of a bearish bias than a bullish bias. The main reason for that was the 4-hour chart structure and the fact that this freaking watch list has looked exactly the same since we started the stream. Like, it wasn't a mixed day at all. There wasn't like, bullish, bearish, bearish, bullish, 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 bearish, bearish. No. Everything is red. Like, why try to buy that? I'm not looking for Ethereum to shit the bed and go down to 0. I'm only trying to make 2% out of price aggregation. If it can aggregate away from my entry to 2%, then I take money and boom, I'm done. And then I go into the next day and try it again. Not always successful. Some days I eat 2 losses and I'm done. Or some days I'm sitting in a position from the previous day and there is no point in putting on a new position. right? Like, so if I do a live stream tomorrow, when the Fed comes live, if I'm already in a position, I'm not going to throw on a new position like I did today. That was dumb. I would have had to close that position anyways. I would have lost all the unrealized gains because when we started the stream, my entry was much lower. So I would have lost those unrealized gains, and then I would have been down a lot worse. But by me understanding the fact that I have no idea what price will do, I exited the full size position, took my $130, tried another short on it, lost $30, tried it one more time up here, and now I'm up $200. So totally on the day, I've made about $300. Not bad. Whereas most everybody's been chopped up already in this asset today. I would say it's very difficult for people to make money in the market when it's literally chopping back and forth like this. But for me, it's not difficult. And it has no fact at all on my ability to predict what price will do. Nothing. It's just experience. It's experience. It's all it is. Try to take the subjectivity out of it and do it multiple days for a long time, and then you will be able to look at the markets the same way that I do. You will have the same ability to trade from your home every day and work for yourself as I do. I love it. I absolutely love looking at the market, staring at them, putting on new positions, looking for new positions, right? UNG, look at that. That's working out, right? I put that position on yesterday. It's not working out great. I'm up $11 on this trade. This thing barely moves, and the options are cheap. So whenever you see real cheap options, that just means it has a very small movements. Like this thing strikes are 50-cent increments. 12.50, 13, 13.50, 14. It's not a big mover. But it made fresh yearly lows. A fresh 2-year low, sorry. It took out 2024's low. So I wanted to see if buyers would step up there. And they are. They did yesterday and they are today. So they're thinking just like me. Not looking necessarily for downside continuation from this point. Because it's choppy. I mean, UNG has been in a range for a long time. Well, actually, it's trending. It isn't in a range. It's in a long-term range here, but all year it's been trending. There's your yearly high. That was your yearly low. You made a fresh yearly low and then a new fresh yearly low this month. So it is trending. But me getting long here is literally trying to predict the market going up, right? Not necessarily. I wouldn't have tried it here. This is different. This is a 2-year low. It's a larger level. And something that that moves very, very slow like this, it does a lot of returning to the mean. And the mean in this scenario is probably way up here. I would say. Maybe. Well, you can just fib the yearly range and find out where that would put the mid all the way up here at the open. So just fib the low portion of the range. Midpoint would be roughly in here. I'm not expecting it to go all the way up there. I just put it on for a small win and I'll get out. As the overall trend is down. The closer and closer we get to winter time, that might make people buy natural gas for the winter. But it didn't last year. Not really. For the winter of 2024, I guess it did. Yeah, it did. So seasonally, the winter time is, or the fall, going into the fall, it's probably a pretty good time to put on risk. April, May. So right through here, it got a spike in the summer, which is weird. I don't do seasonalities. I just do objective price levels, and then I throw risk in. See what happens. Pan W is trying to close that gap. It really hasn't done anything since the last time we looked at it. United Healthcare, it's actually bouncing today. I thought we would see it maybe fill that gap. It still might. What were we looking at Nike for? Why did I move Nike all the way up here? Oh, that's why. It's testing the yearly opening range. Big gap down here. So if it fails to be able to give us bullish continuation above 76.25, then I will have a bearish bias on it. We broke out here, retested it, and got a little bit of upside continuation. The sellers showed up. Boom, boom, boom. So the sellers are selling it. And this ain't short sellers. This is people that own Nike. Anybody that bought Nike in April or May, they're taking profits up here because it's, you know, it's a big level. It almost looks like it's perfect on the 786 of the yearly range. Not really. Pretty choppy. Yeah, so we don't have to worry about that. We can just watch this price. If it's closing dailies above it, you don't want to have a short side bias on this. It is making higher lows. It stopped making higher highs. But this, you can also throw your moving average on. There's your 21. So that's a good reason to not short it today. Right? Knowing that that 21 can act as support. It did here, here, and here. So it can here too. It is currently. You're making fresh daily highs right now. Or getting ready to. So not necessarily be a short seller here. A retest of this, if it holds, I can short sell it. But with support this close, I probably wouldn't. I'd wait for a daily close under it and then see what the next day does. If it shows me resistance next day, then I sell it. But right now, it's a little bit too early to put a position on because this thing could still break out to the upside here. It doesn't have to go much further above this swing high to get to the year highs. Ethereum is failing to roll over still. Where did the structure go? What's it look like now? Did we go right back to bearish? Or are we still mixed? Doesn't matter. It went back to bearish. It never really got out of bearish, did it? The 1 minute did. But now it's back. So as long as it holds resistance here, the sellers can still hit it. Or maybe a wick up into this white line and then it drops back down. But I wouldn't be expecting downside continuation today. I gotta say that over and over because I don't want anybody expecting this thing to be a massive down day today. You're probably not going to see a big range today. The news is tomorrow. Everybody's waiting on that. All right. What do you think about Solana? Same thing here. We can look at it on a larger time frame real quick. It looks okay, but it has lost its August midpoint. It did that also last month. And then when we had a bullish expansion in August. Though it's not the end all be all when they do lose their midpoint, but it can put selling pressure on the asset moving forward. So same thing here. You go into this on the week, you're bearish. So all week you've just opened and headed lower all week. So coming into today, I would have told you that the sellers are in control last 3 days, right? Sellers kind of been in control of the weekly range. Yesterday was a good day. Today, the buyers are trying to hold. This is where the buyers need to hold. Heavy resistance right above you in the yearly opening range. Didn't act as resistance on this day, and it didn't act as resistance on this day. But it did here, here, and here, as well as here and today. It is. So you got support under you, but you've also got resistance above you. So you're wedging up here. The buyers need to hold 182.88. If they can do that, then I'd say, yeah, they might be able to get this trend back to the upside. On the very near term, the structure is still bullish. The only moving average that's really done anything is the 21. The 200 is still down here. The 100's above it. The 50's above that. This could just be a pullback. So I wouldn't say that the sellers are in control of Solana. I would say the opposite of that. If you lose this, that could put more selling pressure on it, though. Because it looks like it's losing its bullish momentum for the month of August. And if I bought it, say, in April, all right, or June, let's just say I bought it in June. Well, if it fails to hold here, I might want to close out my trade, right? Because it broke out, set in highs in July, came back in for a retest of the July midpoint, held, then made another bullish advance in August, but it couldn't hold above July's highs, and weakness came back in. So for the month of August, the bull run might be over if it gets under the 50% retracement. So I might want to manage this long from June based on that objective data. Now, whether anybody else is analyzing price like that, I don't know. But that's how I'd be looking at it. Right now, it still looks okay. It looks weak today, but intraday price action doesn't really matter on the longer term trend. Intraday price action does not have any bearing on the yearly, monthly, weekly trend. Not really. So I think people still like Solana. Solana does it make money? Yeah. It generates fees, right? Solana's also got an exchange. So many different cryptos operate on the Solana blockchain. Like, it's a whole ecosystem. It has meaning. It's got utility. It's at a very key level, though, for this month. It's not like... It doesn't look bad to me. It looks okay. I could be a buyer on Solana all the way down to the midpoint. Wherever, or not the midpoint, but the 786, wherever that is. Like, all the way down here. I could still be a buyer on Solana. I wouldn't love it down there because you'd be bearish on the month. So maybe the 618 is where people bought it, right? Let's put the 618 back up there. Boom. There it is. Okay. So, yeah. Boom, boom, boom. That's where people bought it. So the bulls are in control of this still. If they lose their trend, then it'll be different, right? But it's still just intraday chaos. I would want to see them defend this area again. So if they lose this, I don't know what this level is. Let's just get rid of it. If they lose this and this trend, then I would assume it's coming back to here. So I would wait for a run below this low on Solana and then see if price can get back above the 618 and hold a support, as that would be where I'd buy it, and I would manage my risk under this new low over here, wherever that is. That's how I would trade Solana for the longer term swing trade. For an intraday scalp, I still like it to be slightly lower. But it's getting pretty damn close to the low of day. I mean, you're at the low of day now. You're making a fresh daily low right now. I mean, I wouldn't be putting on a fresh short here. The short would have been in the same exact place as I took it on Ethereum when it was retesting the 4-hour high. Because it didn't even get up there. So no, it wouldn't have been. Sorry. It didn't even get up there. That's where I would have been looking for the short on Solana. And it never even made it up there. So here it goes. It is breaking down. It's not like giving you big, gigantic moves lower yet. So that's still okay. Yeah, you didn't get up there. The Solana would have been a much harder trade to take. Long-term Solana looks okay to me as long as it stands above 182.88. But I think whatever the Fed has to say tomorrow, I think it's going to have a lot bigger implications moving forward for the rest of August and then potentially into September. And we already know from data that, you know, August and September is traditionally not really great months for Bitcoin, as there's more red months in September than there are green ones. Same goes for August. There are more red ones than green ones. So traditionally speaking, August and September has been not really the best time to be super bullish on crypto. But it could be a buying opportunity. So, I mean, while Solana is pulling back into this area, you might want to buy it for a longer term hold. Like maybe you think this ends up becoming the low for this week. You know, I don't know. It won't be. This is all yesterday and the day before. We're on a very small chart here, but you get what I'm saying. For like a longer term hold for bullish expansion for the rest of August going into September, it needs to hold here for me. It looks okay though. Is this week? Yeah, this week. No, that's last week. We need Sunday right there. That's Saturday. So we need Sunday right here. So there's the weekly open. Okay, so there's your weekly open. So far, you've set in a lower high on the weekly range and you're going back down. Here is your weekly VWAP, volume weighted average price. So this is where support needs to hold on Solana. You got confluence here with the midpoint of August. That this could be a buying opportunity on Solana. Just make sure your risk is situated. So if you're wrong, you don't lose more than 1 to 2%. All right. Resistance is right up here. I don't think you're going to see a big breakdown today on any crypto. I think what's done is done probably. It'll probably all just revert back into the range or stay around where it is currently. Maybe a couple big intraday spikes that get faded or something, but I'd say your range for the day is pretty much done. And if you look at it on the daily time frame, just looking at yesterday and today's candles, this just looks like a pullback day. There is the daily 21 EMA. This looks like a buying opportunity. And if tomorrow we get the Fed and he is dovish You could see an expansion day tomorrow. So let's say we close here and we open a new daily here tomorrow, and it trades down and up and down and up throughout the session, and then you get 10 o'clock and then Powell comes out and he's super dovish. You could see Solana break out to the upside tomorrow. We could absolutely see something like this play out. But he will need to be dovish. If he's hawkish, look for the opposite of that. Side note, you got effed by the new tariffs recently. I bought 1,000 DJI camera from a seller in Japan. FedEx delivered it to me and then stuck me with a $460 tariff bill. Oh my gosh. Damn. Yeah, I wouldn't have paid it. Yeah, that is terrible, dude. Methinks it will ride the 1 hour Bollinger Band. Oh, okay, you're talking about Fartcoin. Just started watching. Did you go over the gold trade? I did. Give me a second. Brian, you need to go to like 50. Go 50 minutes. Go back 50 minutes. And that's about where I was talking about gold. All right, guys, I think we're pretty much done here. I don't see anything. It's still not doing anything. Like I said, the buyers could pick this up. The daily structure still looks really good for a potential bullish opportunity. So it's not going to cause people to get, super bearish today, maybe. But as far as any shorts, didn't really work out too good. We're not seeing downside expansion or continuation. We did reject there, but so far it's failing to roll over. The longer that takes to play out, the less I would assume for that to play out, if that makes sense. Like, the buyers are going to look at this and see, well, it looks like it's not being able to go lower, so maybe we should buy it now. Fartcoin is down 4%, so it did get a little bit of downside continuation. Hype down almost 4%. This thing has been trending good. This looks completely different. This looks completely different. This one's actually testing daily support. Give me that. Boom. And give me that. Boom. Boom. So this one looks way different. Oh, I see. So this, in a sense, was a bear trap. If hype can hold 41.05 today, going back, going on into today, if it can hold that as support, that might be a buying opportunity on hype. I don't love it. The 4 hour structure looks bearish. It is structured bearishly, but it's not terrible, and it's not getting downside continuation. So this structure has been like this through all of this. Now, I don't like the fact that this traded way up here and rejected, but this is a trap as it closed below support. And instead of getting downside continuation, you spiked up and smoked the high. So I don't necessarily think this is going to keep going down. If you start closing candles under this price, then be careful with it. You've got August's open right here. Boom, boom, boom. Look at that spike. Look at that August open retest reaction. That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, to be fair, it didn't get as strong as a reaction as the last time you tested August's open, but yeah, if you can hold this area 41 down to 40 on hype, that might be a buying opportunity. The 4 hour looks terrible. Daily looks terrible. I'm not even gonna lie. I mean, we've lost the 21 and the sellers came right back in there today. But you got daily support here. August, 4 hour support, a lot of support. But everything else looks bearish. Yeah. I might try to put on a long on hype. If it holds here, I probably will. Like if it gives me a couple tests of this area later and holds, I'll probably buy that. Because hype is like Solana, it's an exchange, and they are buying their tokens back. Some people claim there's an arbitrage on Hyper Liquid, the exchange, because if they do what they say they're going to do, clearly, then they should be worth about $65 a token. So there's $20 worth of upside on this potentially if alt season isn't done. If there's going to be continuation to the upside for alt season, then hype has a potential $20 gain. But I can tell you right now, it's been struggling. The last 2 months, we've been looking for hype to become bullish, and it's just been unable to do so. Like, a lot of wicks up here. It's very choppy. Very choppy. Yeah. Give me a second. I'm just looking at it. I mean, that looks rough. I get it. You're at the weekly lows down here. Today's Thursday, too. So this might not be a buy today. Maybe it's a buy like next week if it gets back above August. I don't know. This doesn't look great. I don't like that. The day doesn't look good either. I mean, if you take out yesterday's low, you will have a potential bearish engulfing candle. Now there's still 8 hours left on this daily close, so there's still plenty of time for it to go back up and be a bullish engulfing candle. But yeah, I'd watch yesterday's low and that 4 hour support. Just kind of keep an eye on those levels. I wouldn't be quick to jump in it, but who knows? Who knows what these things are gonna do? Very choppy. I mean, that's a daily chart, and it looks not great. It is a channel, though. I wouldn't be looking for a retest of that to buy it. No way. I just keep my eyes peeled on the August open or the July open maybe, but down there it doesn't look so good. What is LPT doing? Not much. Jasmine doesn't look good either. That's Japan's Bitcoin. STG Litecoin trying to hold yesterday's mid. It's a sell on the daily though. Same for W. Solana looks good still. We've already discussed Solana. Doge, still okay. It's not looking good. It's testing the 50 EMA, but you're under August's midpoint. And then compound, I thought was going to give us a big move based on weekly volumes, but it never did. Look at this garbage. These are weekly candles. Oh my gosh. Stay out of this thing. That is absolutely disgusting. Impossible to trade. Bonk. Looks bad. You're getting downside continuation. Edges. Yeah. We kind of knew that was going to be Bonk's story. Once we seen Fartcoin roll over and get back all of July, we kind of figured Bonk would follow. And it did. Pingu testing the midpoint of August to see if it can hold. Nope, that's July's midpoint. Sorry. You're bearish in August. You're bearish in August. You're under last week's low. So you are trending down on Pingu. Yeah, Pingu doesn't look good at all. Pingu making fresh daily lows as we speak. But these are meme tokens. They don't have any utility. So we don't care if they get sold off. Risk up by end of day tomorrow. Nvidia. Not sure what you mean by that. 175 is max pain. They're at 175. They took out 175 yesterday. August 22 is expiration, so tomorrow. Oh, I see what you're saying. So if it closes under 175 today, then those are going to expire what? Worthless? I don't understand what you're trying to say. It's bouncing off of August's open. You've got a huge technical level right there. So, I mean, as long as they're defending August's open, I wouldn't expect it to break down. They lost it yesterday, but they reclaimed it today. I'm not sure who you're saying is going to lose money tomorrow if it closes at or under or above 175. Not sure what you mean by that. $310 as the stop. Wait, what? Oh, that's a wide stop. I'm not going to stay in it up to 310, Brian. I'm getting out. If it starts closing 4-hour candles above 308, I'm just done with it. Because look how long this thing has not done anything. So it needs to go soon. Today's strong. The DXY is strong. So this should be breaking down. It isn't. It tells me a lot. It tells me I don't want to be in it. If it can't break down on days when the dollar is strong. The dollar's not strong, but it's up. I mean, it's up on highs. And GLD ain't rolling over. So something is up with that. It did roll over. It did lose this stuff already. The fact that it's back above it, this looks to me like it's getting ready to spike. You know what I mean? Like I said technically as long as you're under this, you can take the trade, but it does not look good at all. Just so you know. It should have already broke down. We should have already been out of this trade. We should have already banked money. In my opinion, it should have broken down already. We should have seen a massive breakdown yesterday. And it did the opposite. And then here we are today. Right? This was the breakdown. We should have seen downside continuation yesterday. We didn't. It did the opposite. I don't love this. Someone's buying it. Somebody's got different objectives on gold. When the dollar's trading up on highs, this thing should be rolling over. It isn't. Be careful getting into a new short position on this. I've been sitting in this trade for 20 days and it hasn't worked. That's why I said I will get out above 308. Putting on fresh risk here is kind of very much risky. Seeing what it's doing, seeing that it's literally failing to go lower. Very choppy. Ethereum's trying to push here. Penguin's down 6% almost, just made fresh day lows. Bonk trying to make fresh day lows. Bitcoin hasn't yet. Ethereum isn't yet. Book of Meme, what is it doing? Fresh day lows. The cryptos are starting to look pretty bad out there. Starting to push. Jasmine on the lows. I don't know what that's about. What's XMR doing? XMR is pushing. So it did not give us a retest of 4-hour supply. But yeah, hopefully somebody got that. I did not. Hopefully somebody did. Happy Monax says Solana has meme pump and dump. Wait, what? Solana has meme pump and dump? Okay. What, is there a new meme token being offered today on Solana's blockchain and it's a pump and dump? Is that what you're trying to say? Everything's kind of weak right now. Pulling back. The markets, the Fed kind of, that higher inflation report kind of throw a monkey wrench in the Fed's plan. So people are trying, kind of positioning themselves a little bit differently. We're not seeing just flat out bullish, emotional things happening. Our fear and greed models they've pulled back. The stock market is at 65 right now, but the crypto market's at 56. It's pulling back. Yeah, no doubt. Things are pulling back. You still have to be very, very careful, though, on these pullbacks. These cryptos can absolutely take right back off to the upside. But tomorrow is going to be important. If we go look at total 2 and total 3, they still look good. You got a higher high in August. That's upside continuation. Down here is your August lows. So you're nowhere near the monthly lows. You still look really good on your total 2. You look good. You look okay. Down here, you look a lot worse, right? But up here, it looks okay. Here's total 3. It's losing an area we would like to see it hold, but once again, still looks okay. Doesn't look terrible yet. Still looks okay. Yeah, still looks okay all the way down to 964, right in here. As long as it's above that, it looks okay still. Still just a bullish pullback. Others, looks the same, and this is minus the top 10. That gets rid of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and your biggest stable coins. So a lot of your smaller cryptos, meme tokens, things like that, and this, it still looks okay. It's not significantly bearish at all. It's just a correction. Just a correction for now. Under 271, then we can argue whether or not it still looks okay. So tomorrow's news going to be super important. Another thing I'm noticing here today, USDJPY, this thing not breaking down, literally doing the opposite. Hate that. So a lot of choppy sideways stuff out there right now. Some things are trending, others are not. I think we could potentially put a trade on Qualcomm for a bearish trade in the next day or maybe next week. Look to short Qualcomm's weekly high next week, potentially, right? Same will go for PanW, Palo Alto, and Zoom. I mean, I'll leave this up to you guys. What I was talking about yesterday to the Patreon or to the Discord was simple. Like, it's at the yearly open for 2024. This thing has been extremely weak for a long time. It's literally got like some kind of massive long-term rounding bottom going on here. I don't know that it'll ever achieve the heights that it saw through the pandemic, but it's clearly at a pretty big level here, and it has earnings today after the bell. Zoom. So what I was looking for is, let's go see if we can pull up. This is a YOLO play. It is a YOLO trade only. You only live once. Try to capitalize on a big move. So something like this. Let me clear this. Oh, here, we'll just pull this up. So what we were looking for is maybe it spikes up on earnings up above this stuff, because you have all these moving averages here, and you can see how they've been pretty good at selling the moving averages, right? So naturally it seems like it would make more sense to look for the short here based on the structure. You also have kind of an inverse head and shoulders, and I don't love that either, because if I was running things, I would push it lower, smoke these people, then go get those people. But I'm not running things. But you could put on a spread trade if you wanted to. It's only 1 day away, so prepare to lose every dime you open this trade with. But since that Q3 of 2023's high is up at 75.91, so like $76, we would look to like buy the 74, not sell, buy, sorry, and then sell the 79, and that would give you like, that's a buy, sorry, sell. It'd give you a risk of $132 with a potential profit of $368. That is if you get a big rip above $75. You could go tighter with it. You could do something like this. Risk 100 to make 100 maybe. But tomorrow's expiration, so if you don't get a spike, if the market doesn't open up here tomorrow, you will lose it all. All of it will be gone. And if it goes this way, if it goes down, all of it will be gone. So hence, you only live once, right? Is it worth it to you to take 100 and put that on risk to potentially make 100? If the answer is yes, you could put something like that on. I don't love it. I mean, I can look back on the last earnings calls and see that, you know, a little bit of volatility there, but not really, nothing major. That one was a pretty good one. And that was on a beat. Big beat top, not really big beat bottom line. Once again, a nice little spike to the upside, nothing major. So that would be a pretty big spike to get up to $76. It's not a high probable trade. It's like the least probable trade you could ever put on. It's a straight gamble. So please keep that in mind. Say you had a good week this week, right? You made a lot of money and you're like, yeah, I can wipe my butt with $100 bill. Then you could take it. But if you haven't had a great week, I would probably set that one out. Not a good trade, not a high probable trade. And that's pretty much all we had on the week. Deck, we're still watching. Deck looks like it's trying to break down, right? Or you could argue and say that it looks like it's holding support. It is. Technically it is, but you got a big spike last month and it kind of petered out, right? Kind of petered out. So this month, you've really not done anything. So it looks weaker than it does strong. So this might be a breakdown trade coming here in the future. Not anytime soon, but in the future. The problem with it is, damn, it can spike. This one would be a difficult one to manage risk on. If it stays above the July open, then clearly I don't love it for the short. But it might take a lot longer to wedge up here, and the tighter the consolidation becomes, the bigger the move we could look for on this. But it's in a longer term downtrend. Big move off those highs. Something happened. Something happened here. It was a very bullish stock, and then it got absolutely obliterated. It's lost over 50% of the asset's value. So some people are probably buying it, looking at that to be a good. Let's see what the analysts are saying on Deckers. Technicals are clearly a sell. Analysts are saying it's a buy. There's only one analyst saying it's a strong sell. 10 analysts are saying it's a strong buy. We could potentially set up a trade here. Both directions. So 104. What are they expecting in 2026? About 120. Where's 120? Up here. Let me see if there's anything to make there. Deck. Go out to December and have a look-see here. Options are a little bit wide. The spreads are a little bit wide out here. Somebody is selling the 135s, and that's a long-term trade to sit in for that little bit of money. So I would want to buy the 115. Buy the 115. No, let's buy the 110 and sell the 115. 120s, sorry. So that would be a pretty, it would be a 2-to-1 risk to reward. Quite a lot of risk though. $340. You're not risking the full 340 because there's a lot of time left on the trade, 120 days. So these options have intrinsic value because the expiration's so far out. But if you could put on something like this, our target is 120 by end of year. That's what we'd be looking at. I don't love it. Never mind. I don't love it. If there wasn't anybody saying a strong sell, then I would probably like it a little bit more, but that one strong sell guy's got me a little concerned. What does he know? Right? What do you know, buddy? And then there's a lot of 13s that are just holds. 13 people are saying just hold it. But 10 say it's a strong buy. Huh. Let's look at this thing on a yearly chart. What does it usually do? It very seldom ever has I mean, damn, that's a bearish engulfing. That is disgusting. Something happened this year. Clearly. Happened at the beginning of the year, though. I mean, the 120 would just be my target based on analyst ratings. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, some people have a 158. That would be max. 158. That's up here. That's like max. But that's also one full year out, not 6 months. So they're saying for 12 months it could take for this to get up to 158. Yeah, I don't know. All right. Ethereum is still bouncing. Damn, that map looks like poker solver or something. I don't like it. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I think the day is pretty much done. I think we're probably just going to see chop for the rest of the day here. They tried to get a lower push and a lower low on the day, but they failed here. So sellers just ain't in it. Nobody's in it today. Nobody gives a crap. Everybody's like waiting for tomorrow, probably. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and wrap it up. You got dominance failing to break out. I wouldn't expect any massive move one way or the other, to be honest with you guys. And that short that I'm in right now, it's like not really doing much. I will cut it in half. Take $115. It'll be a very small day, right? I'll win a couple $100 day. Nothing major, but it's not a losing day either. I'll probably just cut it in half and put the stop out to break even, and then just wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow's supposed to be a stream for the Discord only, but since it's such a big news day from Jackson Hole for Powell, we'll probably stream that live for the public too. If it wasn't a news day, we would just do the Discord, but since it's a big Powell day, we might be able to catch some heavy action tomorrow. So we'll probably stream that live. Make sure you guys trade safe for the rest of the day. Make sure you trade smart. And as always, happy trading, everybody.